Gary, you want to lead us, please?
Okay.
Good morning. I'd like to welcome you to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Selectmen. It's Monday, believe it or not, June 1st, 2015. It's now 8:30. First order of business, the Pledge of Allegiance. Selectman McKelvey, will you lead us, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Gary. Item 2 would be public forum on any agenda item, limited to 3 minutes. Anyone wishing to address the board on any agenda item? Seeing none, we'll move along to item 3, approval of the minutes for May 18th, 2015, which was a regular meeting. Do I have a motion?
I move we approve.
Second.
Any additions or corrections? Okay, seeing none, I'll call for a vote to approve. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Both minutes are approved. Item 4, Board of Education Business Manager, Linda Trudeau, 4.1.
Good morning.
Morning. Good morning, Linda. How are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
So once again, I'm here to ask for your permission to do a technology lease. As you know, the Board of Ed cannot enter into debt on our own. We need the selectmen's approval to do that. We are doing another technology lease for $400,000 of technology equipment. It was included in our budget for the 15-16 year. We're looking to close this lease as close to July 1st as we can so that we can purchase the equipment and get it into the schools. This is going to be on the Board of Education's agenda for next Monday, for them to accept the rate and select a company for the lease. This time we don't have which company it will be. This is the same resolution that you've seen before. And this is to purchase Chromebooks for all the schools, laptop carts, and iPads.
Okay.
And the lease would run for how, is this an annual lease payment or?
It'll be an annual lease payment for a 5-year lease.
Okay.
So we currently have a few other leases still running.
So we're approving the amount, and you would select a vendor within that
Yes.
scope, right?
Yes.
For the period that Gary had.
So it fits, yeah, my point is it fits within the budgeted
Right.
amount of $99,985.
Right.
Right.
On an annual basis.
Yes.
Okay, okay. Okay,
I would,
fine, Gary?
I would move that we approve it, and I guess we all have to sign this.
Yes, we do. All right,
second
Yes.
motion's been made, second, any discussion? Okay, seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Linda.
Thank you.
And don't forget to sign it before you all leave, okay? We have 2 items to add to the agenda. First item would be, 5.2, consider and take possible action to accept a grant, federal grant for rescue equipment, which was just handed to us. Have a motion to add that to 5.2, please?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Second item, which we'll take up next, would be 4.2, would be a discussion on the science wing. Do I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Cliff?
Good morning.
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 I have a couple handouts as well to go along with the boards. We're here today with Silver Petroselli and Associates, Bob Banning, who's one of the engineers on the project. And he's going to walk you through the floor layouts, what's the existing conditions, and then what we're proposing as far as renovations to the lower level, including some minor or major mechanical upgrades, and then some utility work, obviously, that has to go along with that because we're severing the science wing from the old high school. So I'll turn it over to Bob, and Bob can take you through the individual.
Thank you. Okay, so the first board that's up here shows the lower level of the science wing. The current full renovation design only encompasses the lower level. Basically, the concept here is that the gang bathrooms and this support area remains untouched. This mechanical room will have some work done within it. We're going to create a new boiler room over here. Both stairs will remain fully active, though we're not really doing any work in there. The corridor network stays essentially untouched, other than running some services through it. And the bulk of the work really happens through this area that is currently the 4 classrooms and a couple smaller offices. Those areas under the full renovation get almost fully gutted. One wall will remain up. The ceiling in this space will get completely taken out to make a more open, more usable space for some of the exercise equipment that's proposed for that area. Jump back down to this is the proposed plan. A little hard to see from there, but basically from here to here would be one big open fitness area with no ceiling, rubberized floor. The idea being that free weights and other exercise equipment would be brought into that space could accommodate. Well, it's about 3,000 square feet, so that'll accommodate 50 or 60.
Could you possibly stand on the other side so I could get a shot of it?
Absolutely, sure.
Thank you.
So that would be the what we're referring to as the fitness space here. We will retain one small office space for anybody who may be supervising that area, a storage, and the current single gang toilet room will remain also. This existing wall stays up, we square off the corners, and this segregated room will become what we call the cardio space. The idea there being we could have additional machines, equipment set up in there, life cycles and that sort of thing. They could also do smaller yoga type instruction in there. I mentioned the rubberized flooring would be throughout. We would have mirrors on the walls, some monitors in there for something similar to a regular fitness center operation. Because the rest of the existing building is being torn down, this space ends up without a source of heat, air conditioning, electricity, fire alarm, phone. All of those services need to be replaced to keep this a viable space. So that means we're taking part of this area here to put in two new natural gas-fired boilers, and this space here, which has a current air handling unit, that unit we have alternates to either retain or replace that unit. If we keep the unit in place, then we can't air condition that through that unit, so we have an alternate to replace it so that can be air conditioned. However, the space would be fully air conditioned. That unit is simply used to bring in outside air. So it's better if we can cool that air as it comes in, but we don't necessarily have to. The alternative, or the base bid for air conditioning, would put several condensing units outside here and units within the space, so the entire area would be air conditioned. A new electrical service will have to be brought in. The electrical infrastructure within the building is still good. It just doesn't have a connection to CL&P or Eversource. So we'd be bringing in new, and I'll show you this on the site plan in just a moment, a new electrical feed from the street into a new switch located here in this mechanical space. We'll put in a new fire alarm system to cover the entire area, a new relatively simple phone system. And on the upper level, we have a small IT closet set up to handle that. The upper level, I didn't print the upper level space right now. Really, the renovations up there are limited to creating a few chases for getting new boiler flue and whatnot up through the space, and that IT closet that I mentioned. This space is not currently provided with fire protection, so one of the major components of this system is to bring in a new water line and provide sprinkler protection throughout. We're looking at doing that in stages so that the full system would come in, sized to handle both levels. We would fully protect this lower level now and provide a stub up to the upper level so that that could be fit up when we renovate the upper level at a later date. I can show you the site plan. This piece of the project is actually essentially underway. New England Road out here, Science Wing here, obviously the lower level only encompassing the wider portion of it. So bringing in new gas, water for both domestic water and sprinkler, telephone and power in along this route. It doesn't show on this plan, but we are taking the services out this way to avoid running over or underneath the future field that's being built here. So this is coordinated with the site plan of the major high school project. We have the same civil engineer that designed this as the main project. So that's all coming in here. New electrical transformer would be located back here, and that's that line I mentioned coming in, heading toward where the new service would be. I handed out one copy of the estimate. I mentioned that we have a few alternates that we're looking at. The estimate in front of you now does not include the full air conditioning of the space. We did not think that would be able to be supported by the budget. It basically includes the major components that we know we absolutely have to have with the heat, the sprinkler, the electric fire alarm system, and enough to make it a functioning space, but perhaps not a fully finished space yet.
But are all the mechanical, heat, air conditioning components sufficient to take care of the entire building when it's built out? Obviously without duct work and that sort of thing, but
correct, yeah.
We aren't going to have to upgrade any of those to utilize the upper floor.
Absolutely correct. Yeah, the boiler's designed to handle the entire building. That air handler, whether we keep the existing or replace it, will be able to handle both levels, actually be able to handle more than both levels. Sprinkler system is designed to handle the whole building. Domestic water heater, I didn't mention, we're putting a new water heater in for domestic water. So yes, that's designed to handle the current design for the lower level and an anticipated design of offices for the upper level.
Cliff, is there anything you want to add to that?
No, that covers pretty much the project. We hope to go to bid this week for this section of it. As we know, we've been out working on the utilities already. So we hope by this Saturday we'll go out to bid and we'll get it back, and we will start this summer to renovate that space. So, and again, we did provide alternates to allow us to utilize as much of the funding as we can without going over our bonded allowance, and really get as much done on the project as we can this summer.
Okay.
Originally, and hopefully we can maintain that schedule, we hope to be in the space around October, in the month of October, if everything goes well.
Okay.
So that's it.
Keeping in mind that the demolition of the old high school starts pretty soon.
Correct. And we are working with Fusco and the project manager and everyone on that to coordinate both the installation of the services, the separation of the two buildings, and moving of any furniture and other items as we move forward. So.
And this takes into consideration a new facade for, well...
Correct. When we
I
separate...
have to stop calling it the science wing now.
We
We'll have it starting.
So it does include putting a facade on the new fitness center / storage building, yes.
Okay. And I'd like to remind everybody that this will be under the responsibility of our Park and Rec department now.
Correct. Okay. So, and this does have a new address. It's now going to be 595 New England Road.
Okay, good. Okay, Joe?
That we haven't decided yet.
Fitness center. That's the temporary name. We haven't got a new official name yet, but,
Would you like me to leave these?
yeah, don't mind, that'd be great. Any questions? Gary?
Just the funding, review where the funding, assuming this full total of $1 million, $1,020,000, is the bid, comes from where?
750 was from the appropriation that was just approved in our April referendum, and then the $200,000, or $250,000, that was provided for in the new high school for demolition.
This is in lieu of demolition?
Yeah.
Right,
in
there,
lieu of
we have
demolition.
another bond, prior bond, that allows us to cover
Yeah.
another $250,000. So, we're right about $1 million for the project,
That's
and
right.
that's why we did the alternates, because we're sitting right on top of our estimate for the project, and we don't want to get hung up and have to go to rebid because we're over our estimated, bond allowance, so.
It was mentioned that maybe some existing air handling equipment could be utilized. Is any of this anticipate utilization of stuff in the existing high school that might not have been utilized otherwise?
We looked at utilizing.
Or is it just more expensive to use that?
Most of the stuff in the existing high school was aged out. It's just too old to even move over. But we did look at everything very thoroughly. Bob went through multiple systems to evaluate the boilers, because we do have 3 sets of boilers over there. Most of them were just too old, and doesn't make sense to move them for maybe a 5, if you're lucky, 7, 8 year. And then the ones that we could move weren't necessarily compatible, because there's a couple that are oil, and then there's a few that are gas. But we did look at things very thoroughly. Yep.
Just to remind the board and the public that had we demolished this building, we would owe the state $650,000.
Correct. Plus the cost of demolishing it.
Yeah, so,
Right.
so we retain a perfectly good section of the old building, which was built 10, 12 years ago?
In 1999, it came online. Yep.
Yeah, that's 12 years ago.
16.
16, excuse me, thank you, my bad, excuse me. Built in.
The year I retired.
Pardon me?
The year I retired.
Yeah, okay. Any other questions, comments? Thank you, Bob. Cliff, thank you.
Thank you.
We don't need to take any action on this.
No, it's just informational. Okay.
Joe, you might want to mention the window.
Yeah. Selectman McKellarney told me that I might want to mention the aesthetics behind it. The town hall is in the process of being overhauled. This was right now you see the process of new windows being put in. This was funded by a appropriation that was approved about 3 years ago. We finally got the windows put in. The windows were replacing windows that were 70 years old, so pardon our appearance, so to speak. Building is a good building, but it's aged. We put in a new roof several years ago, a new HVAC system. We converted the oil-fired burners to gas. It's become much more efficient. And now we don't have to put saran wrap on the windows anymore to keep everybody comfortable in the winter. So pardon our appearance. 5.1, Deputy Police Chief Jack Dunn. Good morning, Chief. Please. And this is discuss and take possible action to award bid 1-1415 janitorial maintenance and cleaning services.
We received 4 different companies' bids for the upcoming year for cleaning our building, which is obviously open 24/7, needs to be cleaned on a daily basis, including on Saturdays. And 4 companies sent in bids to receive that contract. At the police commission meeting on Tuesday, the chief recommended Performance Environmental Services, which you'll see is at $28,875. The existing company came in at $31,302, and he recommended the lower lower company. There was 2 other bids that came in and a very low bid at $24,000. I called the references on all of them. The references they listed did not recommend them to be used. They didn't believe they'd be using them further. They weren't happy with their product or their amount of turnover with employees. And the other bid, which I did not recommend to move forward, was the advanced maintenance, which came in at $46,000, which was, as you see, considerably higher than everybody else. So based on the 2 that I recommended to move forward to the chief, he selected Performance Environmental Services.
Okay. Great. And this is also a recommendation of the police commission, I assume?
Yes, sir. They, out of the 2, they voted unanimously to move forward to bring before you the Performance Environmental Services.
I would move that we approve bid number 1-1516 in the amount of $28,875 for Performance Environmental Services.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor? Aye, unanimous. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, sir.
Item 5-2, consider and take possible action to accept a federal grant. Oh, Fire Chief is here, not the Assistant Chief. Charles Hersher. Morning, Chief.
Good morning.
How you doing? Good. What I do with my
We
grant.
received a federal grant for rescue equipment in the amount of $34,500, which 10% of that is payable by us in the amount of $31,136,000. Assistant Chief Vitri put the grant together, and we were successful in awarding it, get the award, and we're just looking for the Board of Selectmen to okay us to start the process of accepting the grant. There's plenty of paperwork after this.
This is not it?
No, this is not it.
So the full grant is, you said 34,000?
$34,500.
And we would have to come up with 10% of that, you said?
That's correct. It's come out of my operating budget. Some of this equipment we always replace in our budget.
Uh-huh.
Obviously, we'll
So
save a
this
lot of money.
This is no surprise to your budget? I mean,
No,
the
no.
10%?
No.
Okay, great.
That's not.
All right.
What kind of stuff's involved in this, Chief?
Basically, it's rescue struts, shoring equipment, stuff used for shoring up buildings, breaker systems, et cetera.
Okay,
Quite a bit of stuff.
great.
Keep those stacked on some sort of a vehicle, or you have to?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Great. Okay, we need a motion to accept the grant, which shouldn't
So
be
moved.
difficult.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion, comments?
We just got this.
Okay, I know that.
So I didn't get a chance
So
to
did
read
I.
it.
Yeah, we just, motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Always accept money. Okay, item 6.1, Park and Recreations Director Rick Maida, discuss and take possible action on a contract for fireworks display and authorize the first selectman to sign.
Good morning.
Morning, Rick.
I've got copies of the,
We didn't have anything in our package.
no, 'cause I just came in Friday. I was off Friday afternoon, and so I just had them made up for you. But there are only 2, and it's pretty simple, but I wanted to be able to see what I'm looking at here. We had sent out requests to 3 vendors, and I believe it was also on the town's website. We only had 2 responses. One was Atlas Pyrovision, which is the company we've used pretty much, I think, all the time since 2000. And there's the second proposal. The first one you have there is from Blue Sky Fireworks. Just 2 pages, the first one. Blue Sky came in at $10,000. Atlas was $11,500. I would recommend we go with Atlas, so for a variety of reasons. One is that the Blue Sky doesn't meet the specifications we had sent out. We asked for 20 references, they gave us 3. We asked for a list of manufacturers, and they didn't give any of that. And I spoke with the provider from that company, the owner, and he said they do mostly weddings and private parties, so I think they do more small-scale stuff. They don't do what we do. And And they also don't provide the flag, which is one of the things we required also in there. And their supplies or products are all cakes, which are small. They only go up like 100 to 200 feet. They have no high stuff. Ours go up 300, 400 feet.
We have trees higher than that.
What's that?
We have trees higher.
Yes,
than that.
yeah, right. So they didn't meet the specification. And again, the guy kind of made it clear that we do mostly private parties and weddings. This is a much bigger event than I think what they're accustomed to. And then the other one was Atlas, and you can see the difference, just look at the proposal. You know, they have the 20 references. They did list all the companies, the manufacturers, where the display comes from. They include the insurance certificate. They did everything according to specifications. The other company was a little short. And again, Atlas is a company we've been using. I think we've never been dissatisfied with them. I know the fire department's been always pleased with the professionalism and the quality of what they do, and the safety. They have a huge, tremendous safety record, and they're a quality company.
Rick, I know last year we had a larger display because it was 375. Are you looking for we got spoiled a little bit last year.
Yeah.
You looking for the same type of display, or is it a little bit downscaled?
We scaled it down some. We knocked out some of the lower lying stuff. We have a little more of the bigger, high stuff this year. We knocked off some of the low stuff, and reduced it a little bit. And yeah, it's still still going to be a great show. I mean, every year it's been about a $10,000 show. It's a little bit more than that, but last year it was $14,000. So this is that's because we had the $4,000 donated from the 375th committee.
375, yeah.
Right.
Okay. What's the date of the fireworks? Again?
July 11th, rain date the 12th.
Okay. So it's the same weekend.
Yes.
Yeah. And what was the price here?
11,500.
I noticed they do weddings too. On Atlas's, maybe we're losing an opportunity. Maybe we combine it with a few weddings to phrase.
Were you getting married that day?
I don't know. Never occurred to me to have fireworks at my wedding.
Celebrate anniversaries or something, Has your commission made a recommendation? at
We're
all?
going to be meeting tonight,
Okay.
but I'm sure they'll accept this. I can guarantee you they will.
They've historically done a terrific
Yeah.
job, so
Yeah, I have no problem with
I
that.
have
Yeah.
no problem with this. I would recommend that we accept the 11.5 to Atlas.
I'll second that that's a motion.
Yeah, motion's been made, motion's been seconded. Any further discussion? Okay, call for a vote, all those in favor? Aye, unanimous. Thank you, Rick.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
Rick, you need some of these back for your commission? Save some paper? You want this back and save some paper for your commission?
Great, thanks.
yeah, right here, there you go.
I'll pass one around. Okay.
Save some trees.
Save some trees.
Thanks.
Oh,
One more piece, Rick.
Charles took his report. Okay, item 7, environmental town planner Kevin McGee. 7.1, discuss and take possible action on a grant from the Connecticut River Coastal Conservation District for design, installation, and operation and maintenance of exclusionary fencing and drainage improvements on the town-owned Northern Heights open space. Kevin, good morning.
Okay. Working with the Ag Commission with their Northern Heights open space property there for grazing. I also say here also I participate on a advisory committee with the Connecticut River Council for protection of the Coggintog River, which runs from the basic Meyer-Heber Pond north, flowing all the way to Middletown. The district there has grant opportunities for projects which protect the water quality, actually improve the water quality of the Coggintog River, which is currently not meeting its required standards for bathing and swimming and stuff due to high coliform. So they have grants out there for projects which will help improve the water quality, such as this one here of keeping the cattle out of the wetlands areas and stream areas where the fecal coliform and stuff will make its way down to the rivers and create an issue. This project here is for exclusionary fencing for the the pasture area, to keep the cows out of the wetlands, and also to provide a crossing across a intermittent stream, so the cows aren't walking through that area there. It's for, we'll receive $18,000 from the district for this project, and we just have to document our labor as a match for the project. I think 40% match in terms of labor, which the Ag Commission is willing to put in terms of installing the fence. Will be, this basically covers the material and also the labor for installing fence posts, and then the commission will be hanging the fence on the post and assisting with the installation of the culverts there.
So our match is really in kind?
In-kind labor, yep. So there's no cost for our match besides our physical labor.
Okay.
We just need to document who's there, the hours and stuff.
Okay. And you did say the
Commission
is on board?
On board, yeah.
Okay.
I asked Tom for a letter, but I didn't get a chance to get one for today's meeting, but they are on board.
Okay. Then it's in, should be reflected in their minutes then?
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
I-
Need a motion then? Then we can discuss it.
Yeah, I move it. For
Second,
purpose of
okay,
discussion.
discussion, Karen?
Kevin, there's a, the district shall now be obligated to reimburse for any costs if the district does not receive payment from the DEP. I mean, is that sort of standard exclusionary language? Do we have any doubts that the DEP will fund this?
My understanding is they have the funding, we just have to do the work by mid-September there. But we can also make sure that this is a draft copy of the grant, or the contract between us and the district. This is also currently being reviewed by the DEP. So if they sign off on this, I'm assuming we'll be getting our money.
Okay.
Whose cows are we keeping out of here?
Right now, it's one of our licenses that we have up there, and it's Stone Ridge Farm, which is an
Okay.
adjacent property owner, which
Okay.
do the grazing up there.
So it is someone we licensed to?
Someone we
Graze
license,
up there.
yep, they have a 15-year license up there.
Okay, that's fine.
And it's, keeps the property maintained for us that way.
Okay.
Although, he fenced it, right?
He put exterior fencing,
Right.
and this is interior fencing, so they're not in the
Oh,
wet
okay,
areas.
Okay, so this is within the fenced area.
Within the
Within
fence.
the permanent fenced area, this is a temporary fence, okay.
Right, the protective fence within the
You
limits.
required, the reason the lease for the grazing cattle is so long is that he had to fence at his own expense. So nobody was gonna do that year to year and
Right.
put up
Yeah, he
fencing.
installed this black line here as the fence. The fencing we're looking at is in the
Okay.
green down there.
Good.
Okay.
Any further discussion on the motion? Call for vote, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous, thank you. Kevin, you also consider to take possible action to set a town meeting date of July 6, 2015, at 8:15 a.m. at the Guilford Town Hall to acquire from George Goss III and Dirk W. Goss, Edwin Leader Goss, and Helen Farrell Goss, 2 parcels located off the Leatherman Road, inclusive portions of Old Bear House Hill Road, as depicted on map 4850 of Bear House Hill Estates subdivision, which was required as part of the subdivision approval. Send to Planning and Zoning Commission for mandatory referral under CGS 8-24. Just want to brief us on that, please?
Okay, back in May of 2004, the Planning and Zoning Commission approved the subdivision for the Bear House Hill Estates, Section 1. As part of the
On the other side, thanks.
As part of the subdivision approval, there's land to be turned over to the town of Guilford, which is sort of the old right-of-way, which leads into the East River Preserve down here. The estate is kind of cleaning up their records and their properties now, and realize this parcel needs to be turned over to the town as part of that. Give direction here. This is East Bear House Hill Road, which comes off of Podunk Road, back in this direction here, and off of East Bear House is Leatherman Road, which this property comes off of. is in two sections here. There's a 0.59 acre section at the top, and then a narrower strip which is 0.38 acres, which is being turned over to the town of Guilford.
So we're talking about that narrow...
The narrow strip in the red color, correct, yeah.
Okay, all right. So what we're asked here to do is actually just to set a town meeting date of July 6th, 2015 at 8:15 in this room here.
I'll move that.
Second.
There, motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you. It's unanimous. Please don't leave here without signing the,
This is kind of pro forma, it's required under
Yeah,
zoning, and
right.
they have to give us the right of ways and all that sort of stuff, and it's just.
do you need to post this warranty deed with it or just a notice? Just a notice, okay. All right, while I'm waiting for that, we'll move on. Item 8, discuss and take possible action on a donation of an electric vehicle for town use. Glenn, would you like to make this presentation?
Morning.
Good morning, Glenn. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Glenn Weston Murphy, Chair of the Energy Task Force.
That's
As you all are aware, we had an electric vehicle event about 2 weeks ago behind the town hall to celebrate the installation of the new electric vehicle charger. And as a result of that, we had attendance somewhere, I think, between 100 and 150 residents or, people from the state, practically, from a lot of different areas. Subsequent to that, I had some discussions with one of the attendees about the possibility. I knew they were looking to sell a 2006 Prius that had been converted to a plug-in electric Prius on a new vehicle, and I asked the question, would you be interested or willing to potentially donate it to the town? We've been trying, as the Energy Task Force, to get the town to try out electric vehicles or plug-in or hybrid vehicles, and because of the way the procurement works and the hand-me-down from the police department, that becomes a little onerous. And so I suggested this might be a possibility to introduce it to the town. And they said, yeah, we'd be happy to do that. And so now, it's sort of a chicken or the egg. They're busy people, hard to get a hold of, so I don't have the documentation yet filled out by them, although I have had some correspondence over the weekend about it. Because of the value of the vehicle, the IRS is looking for them to get a written evaluation of the value of the vehicle for tax purposes, so that may be something they have to work out today or whatever. And they haven't come to decide whether this will be a very public or sort of a quiet donation of the vehicle, provided it's accepted by the town. But I think it's a good opportunity for the town to try out a hybrid vehicle with plug-in capabilities, using for people like Kevin as they're driving around town, or whoever might need it, or as you deem appropriate for the use of the vehicle. And if it works out, then everybody wins. If it doesn't, try it out for a year or whatever, and you can dispose of the vehicle. There's no overt strings attached on it. I know I use an example. 9 years ago, I donated a vehicle to the town for the Park and Rec Department for use within their services. I still see it in the parking lot there, but it also justified later on the viability of that type of vehicle for their purposes, and I thought that this might be another way to prove that out, or disprove it. But I think it would be a viable type of vehicle.
Okay. Thank you. So it is the possible action of this board to accept the vehicle or not. So, what's your pleasure?
Any thoughts of who might use it?
Well, I did.
I realize this is new, but
I did run it by the police department, and it really wouldn't fit their needs, particularly for a patrol car. Obviously,
Right,
it's not
obviously.
built for patrol.
Right.
But we can certainly use it for a pool vehicle, certainly. We always have staff looking for a car. It's like Glenn said, we get, including myself, we get the hand-me-downs, which we're not complaining, but some of our hand-me-downs have a lot of mileage on it.
This has 80-ish plus or
Yeah, well,
minus.
that's when we get them, yeah. Because the police, we don't get their cars until they reach close to 90 to 100,000 miles, anyway.
90 on a police
Yeah.
car is more than 90 on a regular
Yes,
car, because
that's
it's
right.
running,
This car has seen
it's running all
maybe
the time.
service
Yeah.
compared to those vehicles.
Yeah, but we're, you know, we're not chasing other cars, so we can deal
Yeah.
with that.
I understand
No, I
that.
think it's
I think
terrific.
it's a great idea, and I thank Glenn
Yeah.
for seeking this out. It's a good, if anything, it's a good experiment.
Exactly, and that's, as I think, everybody views it with open mind, try it out, including myself. If it doesn't work out,
That's right. And
Doesn't work out.
We have the Charger back there now, too.
well, we still have the Charger, and it's, I haven't got the statistics on it, but I know I've driven by a number of times in the last few weeks, and it has been utilized numerous times over that time.
So, Glenn, if I don't have the year, can you give me?
It's a 2006 Toyota Prius plug-in conversion. I will get, especially, provided you accept it, I will make sure that we,
Okay.
Good
But
address.
I think we would need it for the minutes to
Right.
get the type of vehicle.
well, that is what it is.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
I-
Somebody would make a motion?
I
if
would
so
move
choose?
that we accept the donation from a citizen
Yes.
Yeah.
of a 2006 Toyota Prius plug-in, and authorize the first selectman to sign whatever documents might come up to affect this. Because there's going to be donation documents and tax, whatever.
Right.
He would need at least a letter for his tax records,
Right.
putting down the value.
Yeah, there's an IRS sort of generic form that they have to fill out half of it, and then the town has to initial it, saying that one of the aspects of this is it has to be for, town use, and not for auctioning off and whatever else. And
Right.
at least, substantial use is how they word it.
Motion's been made. Did I hear a second? Did anybody second it?
No,
I'll
it doesn't.
second it.
Yeah.
Second it? Okay.
There's not a time frame on that, it's just substantial use, meaning that
In other words, we use it for a couple of years, we can.
you don't like it, you get rid
Can
of it.
auction off.
Exactly.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion? If not, I'll call the question. All those in favor?
Aye. Great idea.
Motion passes. Thank you, Glenn.
Thank you, Glenn.
Thanks for coming by. Trace, did you get what you need for the minutes?
I would think you're gonna find a number of people that are appropriate to use it, from
Well,
Youth
yeah,
and Family. I know Youth and Family Services uses the
They use
pool.
it.
Reggie?
Reggie uses it. We have Dennis uses a car. I see the assessor, he goes to court all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I think some,
I'm
some,
not picking on you.
but I think that'd be fun, yeah. Some of the town hall south people need a four-wheel drive because
Yeah.
they're off-road, so it wouldn't be appropriate.
No,
But
it depends. on the-
those who are on-road driving it's a very efficient way to travel.
Okay, that was item 9. Item 8, item 9, consider and take possible action to set a public hearing date of June 15th to obtain comment on programs that shall be included in the 2015 Neighborhood Assistance Act program. Do I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. This is where the nonprofits come and ask to be considered for the Neighborhood Assistance Act, so any donations made on their behalf can be deducted by the donor on their tax returns. Okay, item 10, appointments and resignations, 10.1, act on a resignation received from Bill Lincoln from the Guilford Lakes Golf Course Commission. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Oh, that's the lift. Act on a recommendation to reappoint Charles Berco, have I said that right? to the Building Code Board of Appeals for a term to expire October 15, 2017.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. Act on a recommendation to reappoint Keith Bishop to the Land Acquisition Commission for another term to begin June 19, 2015, and expire June 18, 2019.
So moved.
Second.
Is there a side conversation going on outside?
They're doing something.
Okay. Thank you.
We need to vote on it.
Yeah, all those, thank you to him to stop outside. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you.
And Keith was just elected chairman of the commission, so it's a good thing we reappointed him.
Yeah, that would. Talking about putting the cart before the horse, huh?
Well, I just, the prior chairman had some family obligations, and he resigned, and Keith agreed to take it on, so.
Okay. 10.4, act on a recommendation to reappoint Charles Dietrich to the Marina Commission for a term to expire November 30th, 2018. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And requests for the use of town property, we have 11.1 and 11.2.
I would move that we approve the request for use and, one use and two signs as presented in the agenda.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. 12, correspondence. I have none at the moment right now.
No.
Okay. Although I don't know if it's correspondence, I'll bring it up later. 13, committee reports. I don't think we have any. Old business, item 14, receive an update on the award of the electricity contract. Pam Millman,
Good morning.
14.1.
So last Board of Selectmen meeting, you authorized the first selectman to participate in this consortium bid run by CCM, Connecticut Council of Governments. And it took place on May 20th. There were 4 bidders. And after consultation with the Energy Task Force and the superintendent, the decision was to award to a company called Constellation New Energy, Inc., which is based in Baltimore. It's a subsidiary of Exelon Corp. And is one of the largest suppliers of electricity and natural gas in the U.S. Exelon reports 2014 revenues from operations of $27 billion. CNE maintains a regional office in Boston. The award is for, the decision was made to lock in at 24 months, so 2 years. It has 2 components to it. It has a base rate, which is 7.752 per kilowatt. And there's a pass-through of something called a capacity charge. Not really an expert on this, but as I say, the Energy Task Force and CCN's energy consultant walked the superintendent and first selectman through this charge, which generally is a tax that is passed through to all consumers, residents, commercial. And we could have awarded at a higher rate that included that tax, but the reasoning and the recommendation to not do it that way is there's an ability to reduce this charge, this capacity charge, if you during peak hour days in the summer, work at reducing your electricity use. So the concept is, it's set up where on those peak days, the company will contact Cliff Gurnham on the Board of Ed side. And for us, it's really Sandy Ruoff, the library, is the other big consumer on this. And they will contact them the morning of a peak day, and it's, whatever, one of those 90-degree days. And as Cliff explains, with that advance notice, they might power up in the morning, you know, have the AC running fairly strongly, and then shut down. Because the capacity charge apparently is set between 2 and 5 on a peak day. So you're able to manipulate it a little bit. So if we can reduce those charges, if we did nothing, if we couldn't reduce them, we'd be paying the 7.752 plus for July, for 2016, 1.2. So you add those two numbers, that's what you'd pay. If you can reduce it through these exercises, then that amount will go down. So it was considered kind of, the consultant said this is what we'll be pushing to do in the future with the towns to try to convince them to go this route so that you can actually try to avoid this charge. And apparently this capacity charge is something that's going to go up a lot in the next few years. And that's a whole other bit of information. That's it.
Clear as mud.
What?
Clear as mud.
Try my best.
You did good.
All right.
Gary?
As long as we're on old business and Pam's here, when we awarded the sale of the lots at Shore Drive in Woodland,
Right.
I had asked a question about whether or not we could negotiate, and you went back and did some research.
I did, yes.
Could you
Yes, so you couldn't negotiate with the awarded bidders, because
Right.
that was a sum that they bid, and that you have to honor the bid. But in the ordinance, it allows the Board of Selectmen for the other lots. You put it out there on the market, you solicited bids, nobody bid on it, and then the ordinance says, in that situation, you are free to make a decision and negotiate with, and dispose of it in any way you choose. I don't have the exact words with me. So you would be free to approach adjoining landowners and see if you could solicit any interest in it, and you would be free to accept an offer and dispose of it in that way, since you already went through the process.
I would offer to work with Kevin and Pam. I suspect that some of these people thought that it was going to be $5,000 or $10,000. You know, I don't know what they thought, but given the fact that those people that bid from $250 to $1,000 for these pieces, and that we don't want them. I mean, they're a liability to us. I would be willing to work with Kevin and the Land Acquisition Commission and just go back and approach these folks and the neighbors and just say,
Great.
this is the,
It's worth a letter.
Yeah.
you know, some of these, honestly, I drove up there Sunday. I mean, some of these are right along the road, and there's a ditch, and they're wet, and I can see why nobody would bid on them. But you know, some of them are adjacent to
That's a
somebody's
lot,
house, so why not? I mean, if it were me and the lot, the 3,000 square feet next door became available, I'd probably bid. If you know, particularly in this range that we're talking about. So, over the summer,
Certainly worth a letter or a phone call or something.
yeah.
Sure, go right ahead. I appreciate that. Okay, good. Okay. Anything else, Pam? All right, thank you. New business, anybody? Just, I would say it should be on the old business, but I'll bring it up on new, that I want to congratulate the VFW, American Legion, for hosting another fantastic Memorial Day parade. We had great weather. They had nothing to do with that, but great weather. Very nice crowd. I thank everyone for coming out and supporting the vets. And it was a very nice morning there. So, good work, guys. All right, public forum limited to 3 minutes on any item. I don't see anybody looking to address the board. We'll move on. Okay, I have 3 items of that should be under executive session, so I'm going to read them off in order, and then we'll take one vote to go into executive session unless there is some objection to that. Item 17, consider and take possible action on an appeal from a resident in accordance with Section 247-31, right of appeal, Article 7, Elderly Tax Relief Program. Item 18, discuss and take possible action on donation of sick time for a GEA employee. And item 19, consider and take possible action on donation of sick time for a GEA employee. Okay, so I will take a motion to go into executive session. All of these will require a vote. I'm going to invite on item 17, which is the Elderly Tax Relief Program, the town assessor. On items 18 and 19, the HR director. And on item 19, the Park and Rec director. That about covers everybody, I think. Could I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you. Okay, we're now in executive session.
I move we come out of executive session.
Second?
All those in favor? Aye. Thank you, gentlemen. All right, item 17, consider and take possible action on an appeal from a resident in accordance with Section 247-31, right of appeal, Article 7, Elderly Tax Relief Program. How do we vote?
I move that we deny the appeal.
Second?
All those in favor? Aye, unanimous. Okay. Item 18, discuss and take possible action on donation of sick time for a GEA employee in Town Hall. Do I have a motion on this?
I move that we approve up to 2 weeks for
Rest of the fiscal year.
for the rest of the fiscal year.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Unanimous. Item 18, consider and take possible action on donation of sick time for a GA employee in the Park and Rec Department
I move to approve that request.
Second.
through the end of the fiscal year,
Well, hers isn't through the end of the fiscal year.
right?
In both cases, they are.
Yeah.
Okay. There was a motion made, seconded. Any discussion? None? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Any other business to come before the Board of Selectmen? Seeing none, I'll call for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. We're adjourned at 10:17. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, everybody.
And